moving into our final conversation for today. It is definitely a fun one, 5 days away from the referendum. Fun in the aspect that we get to hear from first-time voters. We don't hear from you enough. We have 3 first-time voters with us. We have Francisco Zamora, we have Alici Chun, and we have Zachary Garbut. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
And when I say first-time voter, that means you're registered and planning on participating in the referendum?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, officially registered.
Okay. And not with the push of anyone, just because you want to.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's right.
So today's conversation is looking at the respective campaigns that have been ongoing for a while. And I just want to jump right in here with your own analysis of how things have been going so far.
Well, in terms of getting the information out there, I believe it's okay because they've conducted some forum seminars, you know, and at those seminars hand out the pamphlets as well. Mm-hmm. So to get the message out there, I think it's fair. Mm-hmm. It's fair. So yeah.
Yeah. Did you access the forums through school?
Yes.
Okay. And that was at University
of Belize.
Of Belize.
Belfast
Okay.
campus.
Were you required to attend or you chose
No,
to
I
attend?
chose to attend.
Okay. What about you?
I think that they were effective in using the different mediums of, you know, to get the information out there, social media, like you said, the forums, the pamphlets, using television, radio ads. They pretty much pumped the information through as many different avenues as they could have. But of course, the criticism will always be that the time period was too short to me. So if everyone heard it, I can't say, but they definitely, I feel, tried their best to get it through all the different avenues that are available to us at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, personally, I have been involved in the campaign, and I'm mostly stationed down south because one of the biggest concerns for me and why I decided to volunteer was because down south, we don't really have, we're not proficient in the technocratic language that many of these treaties and these articles and all these things that are they're laying out. And so I'm a history major at the University of Belize, and basically I decided the way I would, I'm a Mayan as well, and I decided the way I would pay respect to my culture is to break down this information into layman language and translating the material from English to Mopan to better facilitate the process of the dissemination of information. So basically, we really tried, and I'm sure, you know, education, the education of this topic will continue. Yeah. But I think given the time frame, we did an effective campaign.
No. So when you say volunteer, you mean with the referendum unit?
Yes, with the referendum office.
So let me ask you a question, because this is one of the clearest and consistent criticisms that we've heard, that the referendum unit was biased, that it was promoting a yes vote. You chose to get involved and you've read all the material and translated it. Are you of the same opinion?
That the referendum office is
biased towards a yes vote?
No. I think we're very neutral, because what we do is we just present the history of how we reached to the 1859. The history is very dense, so when we do like forums and presentation, we tend to just choose like the particular major events, the turning points in history, such as St. George's Key, Independence Day, the signing of the different treaties, the erection of the monuments and things like that. And we also like try to clarify processes, the ICJ.
Yeah. Do you understand why people think that it's biased?
Yes, I understand why I think it is biased, because from what we've heard, basically, you know, we've received a lot of negativity and criticisms as volunteers as well. And one of the hugest things is that we're being paid by the government. And that's why we're pushing a yes campaign, since the government has come out as a yes vote. And so personally, that is what we're currently painted as. But in reality, we just solely present the information, and as you can see, the ads, the forums, we try our best to present the information in a very concise manner. At times, yes, we do elaborate on the judges and the ICJ process, but that is just to ensure that the people understand like the details.
Let me just follow up here, because Zach had a clear reaction to my question. You don't share the same opinion?
Personally, no. I don't think the referendum unit, is unbiased. When I say no, they definitely try their best to be, I believe, but I feel like you can say one thing without coming out and actually saying it, because I've sat through the referendum units for their meetings and their forums, and like I said, they don't come out and say, hey, vote yes, but you can infer the things without actually saying it, and yes, they present the information, yes, they present, like you said, about the court, the judges and all of that, but the way they term it, it's all about how you say things. It's like, okay, yeah, you can vote no, but I still, it's the way how you term certain things and how they word it.
So the tone and the language.
And how you present the information. It could be the exact same information I present and someone else present, but how I say it to you, you can receive a different message from it, And that's what I believe. No, is that wrong? Who's to say? I think it's okay that the government, to be honest.
Well, we are to say.
Well, true. We are to say. That's true. But I feel like it's okay. It's right that the government chose a side, meaning yes or no. I believe that, because as our leaders.
Can I make a correction though?
Yeah. You mean government?
The government has not made a decision.
Okay.
Political parties have. The government is everybody.
Yeah.
We've had two political parties and who are in the House right now. The UDP have taken a side and the PUP have taken a side, but the government itself, to my mind, hasn't. Can't.
Continue.
But sorry.
It's all right.
I just heard it twice and it's just
Sorry.
great.
Well, if we could say the referendum unit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it's okay that they chose a side, because to me, each person, and it's from the heads of our country, I would say, people are looking to them for leadership. So if you seem wavering, then it creates an instability within the society. So if you chose a side, that's okay. My thing is, if you're presenting the information, you can't lead people to choose the way you think. You understand? If you chose a side, that's fine, but you have to present the information unbiased as best as you can.
Yeah. All right, so we clearly hear one thinking it's unbiased and one thinking it is biased. But
not wrong.
Yeah, but not what I understand is you're saying it's okay to have a position, but don't have the people with the position presenting the information. Is that what you're saying?
Not so much the people, just that present the information without your bias in it, if that's possible.
Do you consider yourselves, do you consider yourselves the average first-time voter, and the average, because a first-time voter doesn't always have to be young too. I know some people who have never voted before and they're as old as I am, in their 40s, but they found this issue so important that they've gone out and re-registered. But do you feel as though you represent the average first-time voter?
Personally, I just turned 18 like 6 months ago, and it's basically my family. We're grown in like a neutral home, not subscribed to any political party, but we've always had like constructive debates, arguments, discussions on like politics and the current issues we're facing in Belize. And particularly the one that caught my attention was the referendum and the whole history behind it.
Yeah.
And so I took it upon myself to do my own reading and my own research. And from being on the ground and outcome, like giving out the information, it's very hard to get the youths to be on the level that you think that you are. And so one of the things and the challenges I went in when I was volunteering in giving out the information was I believed that everybody cared about the information, that everybody would absorb the information, that everybody had that hunger to want to learn more. And that's when I saw that not every typical 18-year-old would indulge themselves with this dense amount of information.
You're shaking your head. Why is that?
No, I have to say that it is true. Like, especially even at the university itself, when you talk to people, especially at my age, 20 years old, some don't even have a clue as to the history, as to what has been signed, as to why this is such a big deal in the country. Yeah. So I always encourage them, like what you said, do independent research to try get involved, but you can't force nobody to do it.
I mean, clearly, you must have friends who really don't care.
Yeah,
we do.
Yes.
What's that conversation like? As somebody who cares about it, with your friend who's like, nah, man, make watch basketball, you know?
Trust me, it's one of the most frustrating conversations I feel like I've ever had, because they don't realize the magnitude of the decision that we're about to make. Yeah. You know, this like the teachers were saying before we came on, this is history in the making. Like, we're literally being a part of the history books from now on, you know? And to say that you just don't care, I can't understand that. I don't see how does that relate.
I have to elaborate on what he said. There was a billboard, I remember, that said, I had George Price's face saying, your appointment with history is now. And that really spoke to me. And concerning the people who are not involved and who I talk to that don't want to hear it, you always hear comments as, oh, I'm not into politics.
Yeah.
Or I think they mislead everybody.
And
that's a key point.
And that's my next question in terms of, is this an easier election? Because my first election, I had to vote for a person. And I came out of, just on a political science degree. I came back from law, you know, and I'm here sitting, looking at all these things, and I had to vote for a person. It was difficult. Yeah. But as a full-time voter, none of you have voted in elections yet, not for municipals, not for anything. Is it a little bit easier that you're voting on an issue as opposed to a person? Because persons have their own problem. You hear all of the dirt and all of the stuff on them, or the ineffectiveness that they've had while being there. Is it an easier vote?
Clearly, perspectives matter, because my first one was easier, I think, than voting on an issue. Yeah.
Well, for me, I wouldn't say it's easier, but the decision to vote was easier, because I mean, I'm 22 years old. I had the opportunity to vote if I wanted to before, but I chose not to because I didn't feel confident in the people that were up for election. So I didn't feel the need to vote. Exactly, but this for me now is a much bigger issue, a issue that goes beyond politics, that goes beyond parties, that goes beyond the government itself. It directly affects Belize as a country. Every single person has a voice in this and has a weighting in this discussion. Yeah. So that's the reason why I chose to vote and chose to register and go through all of this for this specific time, because now it's not just your voice matters now, but I mean, your one vote could make a difference now, and if you don't cast it, you know.
Yeah, you stole the question out of my mouth just now, because I wanted to ask that. A lot of times as voters, and especially if you've been a part of the process before, you start to think, oh man, what does it matter? The one who, you know, pays more will win. The one, they don't listen to me, they don't care, why bother? Do you feel that way about this upcoming referendum, or do you really feel that your one ballot can really have an impact?
Yes. Considering the political climate around this issue, it has created a toxic environment, and a lot of people are now discouraged to vote, at least with the people that I have conversations with. and they'd be like, oh, I don't want to vote. I don't want to participate in the referendum anymore because this is politics. And they give up the true essence of what the referendum is all about. And so I would, as a history major, I tend to bring back what we should learn from history, that your one vote can make a difference. Like he's rightly said, that this is not a political issue, this is a national issue. And I try my best to say that history can show you that one vote makes a difference. Look at in the 1923 when the US by one vote made the English language their official language other than German. In 1773, that one vote made Adolf Hitler the leader of the Nazi party. And so your one vote can determine whether we go to the ICJ or we don't go to the ICJ. So separate the politics from this issue and exercise your responsibility. And I try to motivate, especially when I'm situated down south, I try to motivate the young generation, the indigenous people, because I tell them they don't realize the privilege they have being indigenous. And particularly, I always target females. Being indigenous and female, you have that right to vote. Why are you not taking advantage of that civic responsibility? You have countries around the world that you're denied that right. Here we have it, and you're not going to appreciate it? No. And I try to encourage them. And so I personally, that's my take on it.
When I'm connecting with you guys in terms of, I'm having flashbacks to when I first started, my first vote. And I remember my expectation when I came back on the conversations. I came back at a time when you had a young Dean Barrow, you had a young Francis Fonseca, a young Mark Espat, a young Godfrey Smith. In those days, you watched the television, you were like, man, how them man they talk so.
I know.
I know up to this day, and even going to study, had an expectation of getting ideas. You guys, I'm curious to see what expectation you will have going forward to other elections. When you came to vote for the first time, at a time when issues were on the table. You don't have personalities as much being discussed. You're not here the dirty thing, but it's not a dirty thing. What you're really hearing now is 1859 treaty. You're hearing some substance. Do you think that this is a good opportunity for first-time voters to have an expectation going forward? Not come to me to tell about how much sweetheart the man got or how much time in 1926 he robbed the store. I want to hear about issues. Do you think they will change the culture, that this is an opportunity, this referendum vote is an opportunity to change the culture of the expectation of young first-time voters?
I think to think that our political arenas would change because of this voting is far-fetched, personally. Because it's been going on for years and years. That's the almost the norm now for our general elections and those type of elections, to bypass the issues and go straight to the personal attacks. Exactly. That's pretty much the norm. People actually look forward to that nowadays. Like, man, I have to watch news because I want to see what they say about this one, what they say about that one. But it is a good opportunity for, like you said, for voters to see what a proper, I would think, election should look like, what a proper campaign should look like, meaning in terms of, like you said, presenting the substance, speaking about the issues, things like that, I think it's a good opportunity for people to see what that looks like, because for me, this is the first time I'm seeing it, so at least now I have something to compare our general elections against. Man, we did talk about, like you said, sweetheart and this and that, when people they live in a poverty, when we have such high inflation rates and this and that. Where is that information? Why aren't we speaking about that more?
Now let's bring it back to we're 5 days out from this historic vote, and I appreciate that everyone is recognizing just how historic it is. But I want you to share your perspective too as a young person. You know, a lot of times we think adults think a lot differently or comprehend information differently. It's not always the case. And we've seen a lot of different techniques being used. You have all your pamphlets in front of you, your quick how-to guides. There's some stuff on Facebook. There are lots of billboards, but predominantly yes or from the referendum unit. How impactful has the campaign been in helping you shape your decision?
For me, personally, I don't think with the billboards and so forth, it doesn't really shape my opinion on whether to make a decision. You know, it's just yes, yes, yes on every billboard. You know, and so it doesn't really give me an idea as to what my answer can be at the end.
Yeah.
A possible answer.
In balance.
Right. So because in Belmopan, I was at in Belmopan, all the billboards, it's more of just everything is a yes, but
Yeah.
why yes and so forth, you know. So I don't think it helps me to shape my own answer at the end.
I think, well, for me, the most effective means of sharing the information was the forums that they had, because then you actually get, to me, the meat of the issue,
Right.
you know, the actual information. Everything else, to me, I kind of pushed aside.
Blocked out.
Yeah, because it's then that's the social media stuff and the billboards and all that. It tends to get political. Then that's where you get the biases and all of that in the information. But in the forum itself, you not only get, like I said, get information, but you have the opportunity then to speak
Engage.
back, to say something, to challenge the information that is presented to you. So I think that's the most effective thing. What I don't like was like when they did like the music fest and parties and stuff like that to promote, you know, the yes vote or anything like that.
You didn't like it? Why?
But it wasn't to promote a yes vote,
Why?
man. It
Because-
wasn't.
Why was it? Why didn't you like it?
Because it's, to me, it's just distracting people from the actual issue.
Yeah.
And turning, you know, like, hey, you know, just go have fun
Party.
and then vote yes. Just go party and then vote yes and then no worry about why. That doesn't make any sense to me.
But do you think that perhaps it reached an audience that didn't view information and issues like you do?
But my question then, did they get the actual information, or did you just tell them to vote yes? Yes, you drew in the crowd, but did you share the information so they could make up their mind? You know, that's the issue at the end of the day. You have to, each person, decide for themselves. But if you have nothing to decide on and you just say vote because somebody tell you to vote yes,
Because the song said it.
exactly,
Pretty much.
then
Interesting.
it doesn't make.
What about
sense.
you said the George Price billboard stood out to you. What about the use of political and historical figures on billboards? Or even, I know you've talked of
Celebrities.
like Ernestine
Carballo.
Carballo, Ken Cayetano, and even some other high-level government officials.
My opinion on that, I look at it as, let's say for example, Super G is my top artist. So if Super G votes yes, well I'm gonna vote yes too, because Super G is with it. You know, so I don't think that was a proper use of using the celebrities then, because if you look at them as a role model, you're gonna follow your role model depending.
And you know, to follow up on that, you know, like, there's a big disconnect. Like, the difference with America and Belize. Like, in America, my favorite player is Lonzo Ball. So his sneaker, I like, or if he drinks a Coke, I like it because he's a commercial with him. In Belize, there's a disconnect because if you like Super G, he wasn't endorsing anything. He has a couple of Benny's commercial, but we've never seen him outside of just promoting good music to endorse anything else.
But there were so many more. There was Super G, there was Ernestine,
But there's no, there's just no
um,
disconnect apart from in Belize we box people. If you're a singer, that's what you do.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't sing and therefore because you sing, then I follow you to do X. It doesn't work like that in Belize. Am I right? But I wanted to ask this final thing. When you go into the booth in the next 5 days, what is going to be the primary thing on your mind?
Wow.
Project yourself in the future. What is going to be the primary thing on your mind?
Well, when I walk into the booth, I will feel a sense of relief because the date has finally reached, and that all this division that it has caused among the people will come to a halt, in the sense that just because you voted yes or you voted no, you were painted some color or you were given a certain name, would come to a halt. And that I have to remember that this decision is for Belize, and that this decision is one that I'm taking up, and I hope that it is the best decision that I could have made, and I think the most important decision that I will make when it comes to the way forward with this country.
Francisco?
Well, for me, I will feel a bit excited, ecstatic in the sense that, okay, I'm a part of history now and I'm here. This is what I've been longing for now, to make a difference within my nation now, because my vote counts. So I'm going to be, like what she said as well, a relief that the pressure is off now. It's just that time. It's just this is a yes or a no. So you make that decision. So I'm going to be pretty excited and relief at the same time for myself.
Well, I guess I'm different from others. I don't feel like I will feel relief. I think at that moment, that's where because this is where everything boils down to, where the climax of it, the pressure would be. But at that point, I guess I would be saying, just go with your gut feeling. At the end of the day, like you said, you've had this is it. You've had all the information you could get. You've read everything that you could have. But at the end of the day, it's your decision. What do you feel is best for in this issue? And then just vote. After that, let God's will be done.
All right, another great conversation. Thank you for coming in. Yes. We appreciate you for coming in and being so honest and upfront about what you see and experience in this campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to go ahead and take that final break now, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up, so stay tuned.